In part four of Confessions of a Collection Agency Lawyer, former collection agency lawyer Mark Silverthorn explains why collection agencies rarely sue people.
Is it possible for us to take a break sometime in the next few minutes? I could really use a break.
During the 12 years that you spent as a collection agency lawyer, how many collection letters did you send out on behalf of collection agencies and their clients?
Well, I worked as a collection agency lawyer for 12 years between 1994 and 2006. I worked on behalf of four of the largest collection agencies operating in Canada. During this period, I was called to the New York State Bar, and so I was sending out collection letters to the residents of both Canada and the United States. Each year, I would send out hundreds of thousands of collection letters. Over this 12-year period, I estimate that I sent out approximately 5 million collection letters.
During this 12-year period, how many people did you sue on behalf of collection agencies?
Over this 12-year period, I estimate that I sued no more than 500 accounts, and that works out to approximately, for every 10,000 collection letters that I would have sent out, I would have sued one consumer.
If a person is receiving collection calls, should they be concerned that they are going to be sued?
If a person is receiving collection calls from either a creditor or a collection agency, I wouldn't be too worried that a person is going to be sued. Collection agencies rarely sue people. Typically what creditors do is they cherry pick the files that they're going to sue, and those files are given to, they hire a law firm to sue the files, but the vast majority of files, after a creditor might try and collect it for 6 months, they'll just assign it to a collection agency for collection. Collection agencies do one thing really well. They send out collection notices and they make phone calls and they hound people so that they pay their accounts. When we start talking about suing files, that is not a strength of collection agencies. If a creditor wants to sue an unpaid account, they would be much better off hiring a law firm to do that.
Are you aware of a collection agency being sued by a creditor for not suing a consumer?
I can recall getting to the office one day and learning that I was going to Toronto Small Claims Court that day. And this was news to me. I was also told that the trial was going to be in French, and this was I laughed when I heard that because I took grade 12 French, and I would describe my French as elevator French. So what had happened is this particular collection agency had one of their salespeople had got a contract with a small creditor, and the collection agency had agreed to sue accounts if they couldn't collect them. Well, on this particular account, it had never been sued, and the account had never been given to the legal department of the collection agency. So the creditor ended up suing the collection agency in small claims court, and for some reason which I don't understand, I was asked the day of the trial to show up and defend the collection agency. I don't think the judge was very impressed with my French or the fact that we really didn't have a defense in connection, with this particular claim, and at the end of the trial we lost, so that was pretty embarrassing.
Can you share with us an anecdote about a collection agency's lack of interest in suing files?
Yes, I mean, I can recall one national collection agency where I managed their legal department, and there were a number of files that we would be interested in suing. And I can recall the collection manager declining to give us permission to sue a number of files. And there were a variety of reasons that he would give for refusing to grant us permission. So here's some of the reasons. Number one, the debtor would be paying court-ordered support. The debtor would have other judgments against him. The debtor would owe monies to other creditors. The debtor would be unemployed. The debtor would have a low-paying job, so that if the debtor had his wages garnished, that he would simply quit his job, or the debtor did not own any real property. So there were a host of reasons why a collection agency would decline to sue an individual.
What strategy do large creditors use to maximize their recoveries on their unpaid accounts?
Well, let's talk about a big bank, for example. They would literally have hundreds of thousands of unpaid accounts where there had been no payment for, say, 90 days. And what they want to do is they want to maximize, I mean, this is an asset, and they want to squeeze as much revenues out of this. At the same time, they want to spend as little money as possible recovering these monies. And the last thing that they want to do is blow their brains out trying to recover these monies. So the last thing they want to do is sue every account. So this is the playbook that creditors use to maximize their recoveries. Number one, for the first 6 months that an account is unpaid, they will use their in-house collection department, their own employees, to try to collect an account. They may cherry pick a few files where they sue the debtor, and these would be files where the debtor not only owns real estate, but they also owe more than a few $1,000s. Probably 90% of unpaid accounts at 6 months will be placed with a collection agency on a commission basis. And a creditor is in a win-win position placing accounts with a collection agency on a commission basis, because if the collection agency doesn't recover monies on a particular account, the creditor does not pay a penny to the collection agency. Now, at some point, the creditor may decide that it can actually maximize its revenues by selling the unpaid accounts, and at some point, it may sell a large block of unpaid accounts to a debt buyer.
What is the difference between a collection agency collecting monies on behalf of a creditor and collecting unpaid accounts that it has purchased?
Well, if we think of a traditional collection agency, creditors will place accounts, unpaid accounts, with the collection agency. And the collection agency is going to attempt to collect those accounts on a commission basis. And on a particular account, if a collection agency does not recover any monies, then the collection agency does not earn a penny in revenues. This gives you some idea as to why collectors are so aggressive with consumers on unpaid accounts, is that if there's no payment on the account, then the collection agency doesn't recover any monies. Now, if we look at collection agencies purchasing debt, sometimes creditors will sell a portfolio of unpaid accounts, and they'll do so for a relatively small amount of money. The older the debts, the less expensive, the lower the price. I mean, if accounts are 2 or 3 years old, the accounts may be sold at a penny on the dollar. If a collection agency purchases the accounts, then any monies that they recover, 100% of the monies that they recover, then the collection agency will keep. But it's important to appreciate that anywhere between 90% and 100% of a collection agency's revenues are commission revenues generated from monies that they collect on behalf of creditors. And somewhere between 0 and 10% of a collection agency's revenues are going to come from collecting purchased debt.
What are you doing now?
I have a firm, it's called Debt Coach Silverthorn, and the website for Debt Coach Silverthorn is debtcoachsilverthorn.ca. On this website, we've got all kinds of articles and YouTube videos that are helpful for people who are struggling with debt. I also provide one-on-one coaching, 30-minute telephone calls, 30-minute telephone consultations, and one of the things that I do is provide people with coaching for people who are interested in settling a debt with a creditor. And so in this circumstance, the consumer would be offering to make a payment to the creditor or its authorized collection agent, and this one-time lump sum payment would be for significantly less than what the consumer owed as settlement in full. And in many instances, it's possible to negotiate settlements for little as 15 or 25 cents on the dollar.